Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. And no, I'm not talking about myself recording this video in my so-called office chair. No, this summer I went on a huge USA/Canada coaster trip and I visited Cedar Point for one day just to try out the new for 2025 Vekoma tilt coaster called Siren's Curse. And right now at Cedar Point the curse is real because this roller coaster has a lot of technical problems, unfortunately. But that doesn't stop me from creating the best review on this roller coaster ever. And before going into this video, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more roller coaster videos like these. Well, now as a pretty nerdy roller coaster enthusiast, it's always mandatory going through the stats of the roller coaster real quick. Believe it or not, Siren's Curse is actually the second Vekoma tilt coaster in the whole world. The first prototype Vekoma tilt coaster opened all the way back in 2002 at Discovery World in Taiwan, and it has been operating since. Well, you could still argue that Siren's Curse is a first of its kind because this one is a next generation Vekoma tilt coaster with new technology, but unfortunately it doesn't work that well right now. Now this coaster does stand 160 feet/49 meters in height, and I think they counted the back of that tilt track element as the top of the ride. And the top speed on this coaster is 58 miles per hour/93 kilometers per hour, and we have a length of 2,966 feet/904 meters. With no surprise, the first drop is 90 degrees, so we got a vertical drop right here, and the roller coaster has 13 airtime moments total and 2 inversions. These 2 upside down moments are both too low to the ground barrel roll elements. Even though this Vekoma tilt coaster is standing in a big amusement park in America, it still has a pretty decent looking ride area themed to mythological sirens. You can't really say it's heavily themed but stylized, and that's okay. Now let's talk about the complete ride experience itself, and my analysis is based on my row 2/front cart ride I got. Yeah, sadly I did only ride this roller coaster once, and that's because the line is around 2 to 3 hours long. But now listen up, the ride restraints on Siren's Curse aren't really the same compared to other next generation Vekoma thrill coasters over in Europe, because these ones are a bit more tight and they feel like rubber. Yeah, that restraint did feel like a latex suit, and the other ones over in Europe are just a tight sweater. With that being said, the lift hill is pretty fast and smooth. Then you turn to the left a bit and then you have this awesome tilt coaster element. And I must say that tilt track element is not just a gimmick, it's awesome, and it builds up the suspense before that awesome vertical drop. What helps the ride experience even more is the onboard audio. Excellent work. Then the tilt track finally releases and you can experience that stomach dropping twisted vertical first drop. After that you fly into one of the best elements on the ride, that big airtime hill that quickly twists to the right and downwards, and this one is filled with awesome airtime and lateral forces. The train then quickly dives to the ground yet again and flies through a low to the ground and drawn out barrel roll, and this one features a lot of whip, which is awesome. You can then experience a decent amount of positive G-forces as the train quickly bangs upwards to the right. Then the train flies into one of the best sections of the ride, this big triple down element where the first 2 airtime moments are outer banks to the left and to the right. The first one gives a floater pop, the second one gives a decent airtime moment, and the third one gives an ejector airtime moment. You fly under a small head chopping tunnel and bang upwards to the left through a very small and twisted airtime moment with a decent amount of airtime and lateral forces. And that element just looks like we have a non-inverting loop at home. The ride then bangs to the right through a decently intense bank turn, and after that you got another airtime twist to the left. This one yet again gives a decent airtime pop, and then you go through the last inversion, another low to the ground barrel roll with a lot of whip yet again. Without hesitation you fly over an outwards bank airtime hill with a decent amount of airtime, and without catching your breath you turn to the right through another twisted airtime hill and the last one before hitting the final brake run. And those 2 final airtime moments still hit me with a decent amount of airtime and a small floater pop going into the brake run. Yeah, that pretty much concludes my ride experience in the front cart row 2. Now I will say that Siren's Curse is not the best roller coaster in the world, but still a great addition to Cedar Point because this park has some of the best roller coasters in the world. Big, very intense, and this roller coaster offers a good middle ground. If you know, you know. Well, you see, Siren's Curse doesn't really offer the most intense roller coaster experience in terms of strong positives and negatives. But the awesome pacing and tilt track element on this coaster makes it a must ride if you visit Cedar Point. Now, what am I going to give Siren's Curse out of 10? I am going to give Cedar Point's newest roller coaster 8 mermaids out of 10. Well, even though Siren's Curse gets overshadowed by other coasters at Cedar Point, it's still an overall great ride experience. That tilt track element is awesome and unique, and the roller coaster experience is intense and pacey, but it doesn't offer the strongest amounts of forces, and that vest restraint can be a bit tight. But there is still enough room for airtime in these restraints, and that just makes them better than the B&M vest restraints. And that concludes my review and analysis of Siren's Curse. Please let me know in the comments if you have tried this next generation Vekoma coaster at Cedar Point, and do you agree or disagree with my comments? Let me know. Then at the end of the day, I'm always gonna say bye bye.